Hi guys, Darth Deuces here, back on our Star Wars The Vintage Collection action figure review. Today taking a look at the new Vintage Collection, the Clone Wars Asajj Ventress figure. A character who has really been long needing a new figure in 3 3/4 inch. I think the last Ventress figure was probably in the animated style as part of the Clone Wars line in like 2010 to 2012. And the last like realistically styled Ventress in this scale would have been like I think the Legacy comic pack in 2008. Like it's been a long time coming. And it's a character I've wanted a new figure of for a while now. Pretty crazy as well that Finish Collection got this not until this year, but the Black Series has had theirs since like 2021. 4 years, almost 4 years apart, which is again also kind of wild. But we finally have a new Ventress, and I was actually kind of on the fence with this figure a little bit. I mean, I figured I would pick it up eventually. I was gonna kind of maybe wait on it because I have the Black Series one. This is the same outfit as the Black Series one. I have other Ventresses in 3 1/4 inch as well that I do like quite a bit. But I saw this on the pegs in a local EV game, so I figured out how I'll just pick it up. Anyways, taking a look at the card back real quick, I really like it. You've got the Clone Wars there, Asajj Ventress with the red backdrop with the figure, and a pretty nice image of Ventress. I believe this is the episode Arc Troopers, because this is when they're on Camino and they're trying to steal Jango Fett's DNA or whatever. You can see the little DNA capsule right here, and she's probably dueling Anakin here. But pretty nice image, pretty cool card back if you're a mint on card collector. Would be a cool one to have. Then an image of the figure, and then a really brief bio there, which gives you, the basics. But that's pretty much it for the card back. So I'm gonna get this cracked open. We'll take a closer look. All right, now I got the figure out of the packaging, and it's a really solid Ventress figure. I would say by far, from a completely action figure objective standpoint, it's the best Ventress figure that Hasbro has made for 3 3/4 inch scale. Articulation, paint, sculpt, all that sort of thing, I think is top notch here, and for the most part, and is definitely the best that they've done with their previous releases. That doesn't mean the other ones aren't good. I'll do comparisons. They are kind of going for their own looks, but yeah, I would say, I mean, right off the bat, from objectively, this is the best one. But taking a closer look, if you have the Black Series one, this one very much feels like a scaled down figure, a version of that figure in many ways. I do really like the head sculpt and the face print. It's pretty cleanly applied, looks quite good. The tattoos or whatnot, markings, the eyes and everything are tampered on there pretty accurately, I would say. Pretty small head actually, especially compared to the old Ventresses. This one's got a scaled to be, I don't know, probably has some better actual realistic proportions, I suppose. The top here, the purple top, is like this really nice kind of metallic purpley sort of color that shines, which looks nice. And then you got the skin tones that are showing with like the lighter blue wrappings and the wrappings around the arms and hands. The belt with the buckle there and the sash or whatever looks good. She is featuring a soft goods skirt. She's made a pretty nice material. And then this front part of the skirt is all soft goods, but you do have the gold patterning there. On the Black Series, this piece was actually plastic, which I like the soft goods for the articulation purposes. You get it in a dynamic pose. This will just lay back normally, where the plastic will kind of warp over time a bit, but the plastic does offer a little more detail, I suppose. But I think this looks pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that, and I think the soft goods look pretty good on this figure in general. They meld well with the rest of the plastic of the figure. Underneath is really basic. It's just these blue wrapped leggings, and I don't know for sure, but I think these might be reuse of the Morgan Elsbeth TVC figure. Again, I don't have that figure, but so I could be wrong, but I think these might be reuse of that figure. But aside from that, as far as I know, the rest of the figure is 100% brand new, but I suppose I could be wrong. But not too much else to talk about. I mean, it looks pretty good, as you expect. This is her Clone Wars, her first couple seasons Clone Wars outfit. Looks pretty good. Translated into this realistic version pretty well. Articulation-wise, you have a dumbbell joint. I think it's a dumbbell joint. Yeah, dumbbell joint at the neck, which doesn't actually look up a whole lot. Looks down a bit. Not a lot of pivot, a little bit, and rotation. Hinges really well ranged in the shoulders there. They move all around. Elbows go a little bit past 90. Interestingly, only swivel wrists. I get she's got smaller arms, but I'm a little bummed they couldn't get some vertical wrist hinges engineered onto the figure. It makes for lightsaber, obviously makes lightsaber poses a lot better. So it's a little unfortunate she doesn't have that, but I guess at least she has the swivel, I suppose. There is a torso waist joint which actually goes arches back pretty good, crunches forward a little bit, decent pivot and rotation. Then you have your hip joints. The soft goods don't really hinder any movement for the most part. They kick out. They go out pretty far as long as the skirt rides up. There's a swivel cut at the thigh there. I do believe. Yeah. There's a single hinge at the knee that goes 90. Then there's a hinge at the ankle that doesn't really go up super far because of the sculpt, but it will go down. And there is rocker for ankle pivot. So yeah, definitely the best articulation out of, I think, every Ventress they've released in this scale. Most of the time they omit elbow joints, or they don't have, none of them have the new hip joints. Sometimes a lot of them don't really have any leg articulation at all. So to have one at this scale with a lot better movement is really good. In terms of accessories, comes with a decent amount actually. You do get her red bladed lightsabers. These are new sculpts and have a little bit of paint with the black there. And the red blades look pretty good. However, the weird part about these is the hilts are really big. I don't know why they made the hilts so large. You'll see when I put it in her hands. Her hands are pretty small. And she still holds the lightsabers fine and all that. But putting it in her hand, like, the hilts just look majorly oversized in her hands. I don't know why they made the hilts so large. It's really, really weird. My only thing I think of maybe is to accommodate the combining gimmick. You can put the sabers into a saber staff configuration, just like pretty much every Ventress figure they've ever made. So you can do that and give her the double bladed saber, which is cool. But why did the hilt have to be so large? Even the older figures, they had a system that didn't require the pommels and like the whole hilt in general to be so massive. So that is admittedly kind of weird. At least she can hold the sabers. I'm almost a little concerned she wouldn't even be able to do that because of the hands. There's not much to the hands. Like on this side, the fingers barely wrap around the saber hilt. The hilt's so large. And then she can hold them. Still fine. But yeah, that is really weird. I don't like that very much. But yeah, she comes with the 2 lit lightsabers. You do also get the unlit hilts. The unlit hilts have the pegs on the side so you can put them on her belt. You still can also combine them if you want. I don't really know why you want to do that, but you could. But they're mainly so you can plug them onto the front. You're supposed to be, come on, this thing doesn't want to go. There we go. So you can plug the hilt onto the front, and that's cool that they include that. But again, the hilts are massive, and then they look massive hanging off of the front of her belt. Like, what the hell? Yeah, weird. It's just weird. I don't really know why they did this. Surely they could have made them a little smaller, but still be able to include all the functionality that they have. But it is nice you get the unlit hilts that you can plug onto the belt, and you get the lit lightsaber as well. And it's cool that you can still do the saber staff combination, even though I think the only time she's ever done it on screen was the Clone Wars movie. But yeah, pretty cool. But now we can do some comparisons. I believe I have every single realistic interpretation 3 3/4 inch Ventress they've ever done. And if you want to see reviews of any of those versions, I have them all on my channel. A couple of them pretty recent. But first, before we do that, here she is with the recent Count Dooku. And I think they look good together. Then with a plethora of Ventress figures, here is, I think, the very first realistic one they did, the Sith Apprentice Ventress. The new one's actually a little taller, I guess because she doesn't have her legs bent in like an action position. But you can kind of see the head size difference. I don't know why the older ones are a bit bigger. Honestly, I prefer the look of the old one, but the new one definitely has much better articulation and some better proportions, I suppose. Here she is with the Jedi versus Sith pack, Tartakovsky styled Ventress. Again, a bit larger in proportion, just not by much, but then similar to the Sith Apprentice one, this is the comic pack Ventress. I have to have those two on stands because I just will not stand without them. Again, you can kind of see. And then for fun, here she is with Tolskor from that comic pack, another one of the Dark Acolytes, which I think she still looks good with. And then lastly, of course, with the Black Series figure. Very similar figures. I will say I think I might actually prefer the head sculpt and print of the Vintage Collection one just a little more. But all the other details are pretty similar. You can see the plastic versus the fabric. Not a huge difference, but there's a little more detail in the plastic. This style of soft goods on the Black Series one is also different. I'm pretty indifferent. I kind of like the fabric on the Vintage Collection one a little more, to be honest. But they're both pretty similar figures. This one has more proper looking hilts though. So overall, I do still think this is a really solid Vintage Collection release. Like I said, Ventress, I think, has been needing a new figure for a long time. She has not had representation in 3 1/4 inch for, well over a decade, I would say. Or pretty close to a decade. So to get a new one is great, especially if you're newer to collecting or you don't have a Ventress yet. Then this is a good option because it's potentially, honestly, at this point, it's probably her most iconic look. It's currently available online and on shelves, so you can get it very easily, and it's a very solid one. Pretty easy to get it into a pretty good looking pose. But that doesn't mean the old versions are bad, because they're not. Just depends on kind of what you prefer. I bring them all in here. I would say overall look is actually tough between the Sith Apprentice and the Tartakovsky. Tartakovsky one's probably my most favorite just because that's the look for Ventress I'm most familiar with and like the most because I really love this 2D series. But like if you prefer the old school Legends Republic comics look, then this figure goes for about the same price. Maybe you could even find it cheaper, and aside from posability, is still a really great figure, honestly. If you want a more Tartakovsky accurate Ventress, then this one's the one to go for. Articulation is not fantastic again, but still looks great. Can't stand worth shit either, but what are you gonna do? Just put a stand on it. The only one that's hard to recommend is the comic pack one because it doesn't do much different from the other two. It's got a bit better articulation. She has elbow bends, and if you can get the pack with Tolskor for a decent price, then it's worth it. But on her own, I don't know. This one's actually maybe my least favorite in terms of look, because the lower robes are less detailed because they're just soft goods, even though it makes no sense because there's no added articulation on the lower part. I don't like the head on as much on this one as I do on this one, and just the overall look with this one I like better. But this is still a cool one. So Ventress has had a nice array of figures over the years, albeit not many. And I think they're all worth getting. It just depends on your personal preferences at the end of the day. You want articulation or the more Filoni Clone Wars look? New one. Tartakovsky look, the Jedi vs. Sith pack one. Legends look, just prefer this darker color toned look. One of these two, But yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Which Ventress is your favorite? For me, I actually think the Tartakovsky one's probably, if I had to get rid of all of them, I would probably keep the Tartakovsky one. It's tough between these two, honestly. I like both these ones pretty equally. Anyways, that's it. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. May the Force be with you.